You know, as someone who doesn't work in the gaming industry itself, if someone ever asked me, hey, do you think it'd be a good idea to work in this particular area? I'd say, hell to the no. Jesus, what the heck has happened in less than 12 hours? I go to sleep trying to rest a little bit because I got sick. And next thing you know, huge amounts of layoffs coming out of both Bungie and Sony, because now Bungie is owned by Sony. And this just adds on top of everything else that has happened in 2023 when it comes to the gaming industry. Heck, just the tech industry itself, but especially the gaming industry. And this isn't little things like having first timers be laid off because, well, you know what, we just can't, have this many people in the team anymore. No, some of these people are like, they've been in the business for 20 plus years. And they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, we were originally told that this wasn't going to happen, and now it's happening. What the heck is going on? We got a lot to talk about here, ladies and gentlemen. We got to talk about just everything. Is this Bungie's fault? Is this Sony's fault for this particular area? What the heck is going on in the gaming industry? What are the side effects of all of this stuff happening? And there's just so many unanswered questions that we're not going to be able to answer, but we have some speculations here, obviously. So we want to know all your thoughts down below in the comments, or again, wait till the end of the video to listen to all your thoughts down below. Give it like 24 hours because, man, emotions are high right now and it is absolutely ridiculous. But what's going on, everyone? Tallen here with Direct Gaming, and I'm going to get through trying to make this video with whatever sickness I have right now because I have not been feeling well the past couple of days. And we're gonna get straight into it. So without further ado, let's start this video. So the very first little bit of information that I need to basically catch everybody up on is that basically there have been a ton of layoffs at Bungie. And if you don't know, Bungie is owned by Sony. So based on this article from Jason Schreier, who, by the way, is very creditable. So unless something comes out that completely negates everything he says in this article, which, by the way, we'll leave down in the pinned comment so you can check it out, pretty well know that this is going to be what it is. So anyway, just the very basic message that he puts before you even check out the article says, Bungie laid off unclosed number of staff today, part of an ongoing job cuts across PlayStation. Now, obviously, if you've been keeping track of everything in the gaming industry, or just some level, I should say, everyone has been doing this. Xbox, PlayStation, Ubisoft, you name it. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm pretty sure, and maybe I'm wrong in this. In fact, I probably am wrong. Like, Nintendo is maybe the only one I haven't heard of doing layoffs, or maybe they probably have, but at much lower levels, I would say. I'm sure by the time this is getting edited, some pictures already popping up on screen and being like, oh yeah, no, this is this. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, totally wrong there. Now, if you know anything about the whole Bungie and Sony acquisition, where Sony bought them for $3.6 billion, that's billion with a B, then you would actually know about this particular article where it was basically stated when this happened all the way back in 2022 that Bungie leadership assured their employees that the Sony deal will not result in layoffs or any kind of reconstruction. Now, granted, that was about a year, almost 2 years ago, essentially. I'd say about a year and 2/3. So at that moment in time, it's kind of like, okay, you know what? They get bought up, they get a bunch of money, they can put it towards, their current game, Destiny, they can put it towards some other projects they're going to do. And a lot of that money, I believe, was like 1.2, is either 1.2 million or 1.2 billion, either regardless, tons of money there that was going towards making sure that there were no layoffs. It was towards staffing, essentially, is what it was. So that's great, right? That allows Bungie to keep all of the people that are currently under them at that particular moment in time, and everyone gets to keep their jobs. That's awesome.
Surprise, motherfucker.
And then basically from the end of 2022 until now, we've seen layoffs across the board everywhere. I'm not just talking Sony and Bungie. We're talking everywhere right now. These particular layoffs from Bungie are within the last 24 hours by the time you are most likely seeing this video. So the big question is, first off, that we stated at the beginning of this video, is this Bungie's fault or is this Sony's fault? Is it a mix? Because I've seen a lot of people just simply pointing fingers at Sony and saying, see, Bungie said this, so they're clearly the good guys. However, we simply just don't know that. Now, this is not me saying that Sony's the good guy or anything. I mean, like I said, every single company in the industry as of this year has been laying people off left and right, and they're all at fault. They all are. So when I look at something like this and then I see that article about, hey, Bungie leadership assured that nothing would happen when all this went through and everything, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so was October/November, it's basically November since tomorrow's Halloween for most people, like, is tomorrow marking like, hey, November 1st, by the way, yeah, this is happening, we don't have to abide by that rule anymore? Or was this something that the leadership of Bungie said to just, you know, kind of calm everybody, but in reality, him and the CEO at the time of Sony just did a handshake and they're like, yeah, you know what, you just get all this money and now he can retire or do whatever he wants or something like that? I know it's not exactly like that. At least last I checked, I don't think the CEO of Bungie is retiring, but regardless, was it something like that? You know, we just don't know. None of us were there behind closed doors. However, we did see an interesting post from someone named Arab Bubbles, who they remember being at the meeting when they were all assured that none of this would happen when the whole Bungie and Sony thing happened. So it's just like, what the heck is going on here? Is it because Sony now owning Bungie means there's multiple positions doing the same thing? So like, okay, you know what? It's been over a year and a half now. Some of these can kind of merge together, or one person can handle both of these because, you know, they're maybe not doing as much or something like that. Who knows? We really just don't know any of these answers right now. So that's one thing that's kind of been on my mind, is we just simply don't know the answer to right now. The other thing that I've started to see from this, that we've seen some rumors over the last couple of weeks, is Sony ending their live service push before it really has started. They've had a ton of pushback when it comes to their whole going full in on this live service stuff, when everyone has wanted them to do what they've been doing for the past, like, you know, 7-10 years, essentially, when it comes to single player games and everything like that. Even their own teams that they have had for years now have seen pushback against this. Why shouldn't they? I mean, they have been known for doing single player story driven games and everything, and then to just be like, hey, by the way, now you're doing these live service stuff, they're like, what the F, we don't want to do any of this stuff. So is it because now that's those rumors of Sony just saying like, okay, actually, we're not really going to do this now, we're only going to have maybe like 2 or 3 instead of the 10 that they originally said they were going to do, which is the whole reason everyone thought that they originally bought Bungie, which would make sense at the time. So is that what's going on here? We just don't know. But it would make more sense that if they are, aka Sony, if they are kind of dropping a lot of those live service things, then they don't have as much need for every single person at Bungie. I know it's a harsh thing to say, but again, looking at it from the outside in, that's one of the few things I can just come to some kind of conclusion. I don't have any knowledge of who works in what, and I don't have any inside knowledge. I don't know anybody who works there being like, hey, Tallen, by the way, this is what's actually happening here. I don't have any of that. So I can only go off of what everyone else, for the most part, knows in terms of these articles that we see, in terms of what little knowledge we know of when it comes to these deals. It's a scary place. I honestly feel really, really bad for all of the developers and artists and people who make music and just every single position when it comes to the gaming industry right now. I mean, if you look again at what positions were laid off for the most part when it came to all these Bungie layoffs, and to an extent some of those PlayStation layoffs that we've been seeing over the last few weeks as well, it seems to be more towards things like artists and graphics and community managers and things like that, not necessarily like the engineers of engines or anything like that, right? At least that's what we've been seeing so far. There could be more tomorrow. Maybe by the time this video comes out, it'd be like, yeah, actually, by the way, 50 more people just lost their jobs, and it was boom, 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 here. It's like, oh, well, scratch that part then, I guess. It's a really bad position for both Bungie and for Sony. I mean, Sony has already been letting people off, and again, Microsoft's been doing the same, Ubisoft, you name it. Everyone has been. Nobody is like safe essentially right now. And it really sucks because this year particularly has been amazing for gaming. We have had so many games come out this year that pretty much everyone that I know of personally, like, everyone's just like, oh my God, I have this huge backlog of games, which is awesome to have for once, because you're like, you just have all this stuff to play. And Then there's reports of record profits and everything, but then there's all these layoffs. And it's like, what the F is going on? Why is this happening essentially? So I'm curious to know what your guys' personal thoughts on all of this is, because I don't know what's going to be happening over the next few weeks or going into the following months, because during this article with Jason, he actually mentioned that the big DLC for Bungie, which is the Destiny 2 DLC Final Shape, that has now been delayed to June of 2024. And if you have seen any of our Destiny 2 guides, because we do a lot of guides on this channel, then you know that we do play that game, and we even have a clan ourselves. And that's going to be now like a 6 to 8 month season, which is hugely long when it comes to this particular type of game. And it's weird that all these positions, or a majority of these positions that were laid off, focus on helping the live service area of these particular games. So maybe that's really pushing the fact that Sony is not going as hardcore into the live service as we originally thought they were. Does this have to do with the CEO leaving and they're going to be finding a new one and they're making a big shakeup behind the scenes? We really don't know. And also the fact that Bungie's next game, Marathon, which we still know little to nothing about, is actually delayed until 2025, according to him. But again, his record's pretty sound, so I wouldn't be surprised if it is true. There's just a lot we don't know about. So I want to know everyone's thoughts in the comments below. There's a lot more I could talk about this, but I'd be dragging on and my voice is killing me right now. So we will have an updated video on this later on if there's enough information and details about it and everything like that. So check the pinned comment if this is later down the road and there is extra information. But let us know all your thoughts in the comments, everybody. Do you think this is Sony's fault, Bungie's fault? What the heck's going on with the gaming industry? And what's going to happen in 2024? Love to know all your personal thoughts down below. But anyway, everyone, I've been Tallen with Direct Gaming. Thank you so much for stopping by the video. If you enjoyed it, a like would be greatly appreciated. And obviously, if you want to support the channel even more, a sub would really help us out. Anyway, though, like I said before, I hope everyone has a great week. See you all in the next one, hopefully. Until next time, everyone, Johnny.